Hey class, thank you for checking in with my learning contract project. My um, project revolves around training and onboarding for the libraries within Hennepin County. And so libraries are part of the county. They are their own entity though, so it's a little bit weird. Like the libraries are their own self, they're their self, and then the county is its self. And there's not a lot of currently not a lot of communication back and forth. So um, this causes some issues with communication. And very recently, within the last year, Hennepin County had put out this vision that all Hennepin County employees would be assisting in the addressing of disparities and barriers of those in need. These disparities that we were all supposed to work on addressing. We'd come up with our own, supposed to come up with our own programs and help people as they came in to wherever we were. These disparities are education, employment, transportation, income, housing, and health. There's a very nice graphic that they use within for employees. I was unable to get it for this project, but there are all of these disparities are gears and showing that they're all interconnected, right? So education, employment, and transportation are all these larger gears. Income, housing, and health, all these smaller gears. And so the way that that's supposed to show is that if we can help address education, employment, transportation, then that can in turn assist in turning the other ones income, housing, and health. So if we help with education, that should theoretically help with employment. If someone gets a better job, then they have more income, they can afford better housing, right? Their health is automatically and positively addressed as well. So that's how all these things tie together. Um, and so my project is the issue was that they put this out there, but there were no actionable steps tied to it. Everyone was supposed to kind of do it on their own. And if you are one library and your goal is to affect everybody in the county in all of these ways, it's kind of overwhelming, and there's no good way of addressing it and being effective. And so, what I wanted to do was to create some actionable steps, create some partnerships within the county to help with this. And so, my what I did, and again, I didn't do this for the entire county. The county itself has 1.15 million residents, has 85,000 workers working for Hennepin County in 30 departments. Like, there's no way I could have done this for the entirety of Hennepin County. So I stuck again with libraries, tied in the workforce centers, and also kind of tied in social services to a small part of it as well. Social services obviously have the most contact to uh, people who are in need. And so it'd be easy. That'd be a great, easy starting point. Programs for the library, programs for the workforce centers, already available to register online. So if we're all communicating and talking together, then we can have our programs available to register online. Social services can get people registered online before they leave their appointments, and then those people can come to programs at either libraries or workforce centers. There are 3 workforce centers in the county. They're fantastic, though. They work on resumes, cover letters, they do mock interviews, they do job fairs, all types of stuff. Now, the issue is there are only 3 in the county. And so if you have an issue with transportation, you can't go get the resources from the workforce centers. And so the libraries right now, so again, just kind of tie it back, and I'm rushing through this because 5 minutes is super short. Um, Workforce centers, in my opinion, are already working on the employment aspect of this. They're doing their thing. All we need to do is get people there more regularly or help assist that. The libraries, the way what we can change can be great. So I ran a program for the library that helped young adults and teens get ready for the workforce, right? So we did mock interviews. It kind of mirrored what the employment centers were already doing. Just did it at the library. And so what I want to do, what I'm proposing, is that we take this a step further. We make sure everybody in the library is trained in how to write a resume. They're all trained in how to write a cover letter. They're all trained and can help people fill out applications and be willing to do that help, right? So if we do that, then all of a sudden we are helping address the disparity of employment, right? Makes sense. The other thing I think we can address as libraries is the education aspect of this. And so again, we already have software online. that can help individuals either do a resume, do a cover letter, all online help. It's all there. There's also a program that helps with learning a second language. Okay, and so where this comes in, Hennepin County is 75% white, but there is a large immigrant population as well. And so in Brooklyn Park, where I work, there is a very large immigrant Somali population. The majority of the people I was working with had issues with language as far as like the written aspect of it, right? Like we could communicate fine, they could talk, and there were no issues there. If you put them in a work position, they're fine. But when you're asking them to write a resume, when you're asking them to write a cover letter, when you're asking them to fill out an application, the written aspect is what was tripping them up. And is as someone who has hired and gone through read through resumes, like you immediately cut those out that just don't have proper punctuation, that don't have full sentences. You cut them out. And so that is just something that just happens, and it doesn't make anybody a bad person. It's just what happens. And so, if we can assist in this aspect of it, though, as the library, if we can help people learn how to appropriately write, in English, and so then they can gain gainful employment and get better jobs. Then we're working on the education and the employment aspect of it too. And in order to do this, people need to be aware that these programs are available, and that includes library workers. I stumbled across multiple programs on my own, just kind of when I was bored, kind of just going through the library website. No one showed them to me, and so I found a lot of these, and then I started using them in my interactions with patrons. Like, hey, try this out. Look, this is what's already on the website. You have your library card. You can go online at home if you have internet access. You can do it here, and you can gain all of this information. You can use these to better yourself. And so, as far as training goes, there'd be a short, very limited training. Again, the programs themselves are already available, but the libraries would start training in week 2. So week 1 training for the libraries would stay the same. Onboarding, all that stuff is the same. Do your Library of Congress training, all that is that they're already doing. Keep it the same. Week 2, now we're doing the online resources training. Now we're learning about, the programs that allow people to learn second languages. We're learning about the resume stuff. We're learning about all that, and then making an effort to show that it is important for them to know these for their position, because they'll be asked to help people in patrons in the library with this stuff. So become comfortable with it. And then also what I would like to see, just as a cultural diversity piece of this, is that the library allows staff to learn a second language while on the clock. And so it's a little bit tricky, and I definitely wouldn't work in every work environment, but in the library work environment, there's plenty of time they could definitely do this, to where they're allowing individuals and staff to use this same program that we're showing the patrons to learn a second language. And it wouldn't just be any language, it'd be a language that is spoken commonly within the community. So for Brooklyn Park, that is Hmong, Spanish, and Somali is one that I was going to try and learn. And I did a couple of the classes online to try and learn some Somali. But if we're learning the languages of the people in the communities where we live, and just in learning that language isn't necessarily cultural diversity, but what it does is it allows for a more opening, some more willingness to accept those of different cultures, and honestly, people who come in and they have broken English. It is very difficult and challenging sometimes. I know for people to be patient with those who don't speak English clearly, right? And I think we've all either seen or experienced a situation like this where you're trying to help someone, they don't have the words, and you get frustrated. But I think if we are, as library staff, also learning a second language, and we have firsthand experience as to how difficult this is, and there's that added empathy there to be more patient and to assist them differently. Also, if it's someone who is Somali and we're learning Somali, then maybe we can try and use whatever little language we have to kind of help communicate that as well. And so how this would work, because again, this is super long. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to blow through it, but the outcomes and tracking of this, if we are successful and people are able to gain better employment, through these programs, and they'll no longer need the social services. So again, social services would get people registered through the libraries, through the employment agencies, use their programs, and then if they gained employment, then they would be making more money, and then they don't have to go back to social services. So then you'd be closing out these files. And so whenever social services get someone registered, mark it down, registered from program ABC, and then if they don't come back within the next year or whenever it is, then, or if they start not qualifying for programs, then you would see that in their file that what the libraries and what the career centers are doing is being successful. I'm going to let y'all go now. I am well over 5 minutes. I tried to pare it down. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be responding through the comments throughout the week. Thank you very much.